to say this about Bill Pulte. You didn't ask me about that, but I can't wait.
Please,
okay, I just can't wait. I can't wait. This is a sign that he will not be going to Congress for confirmations going forward. We're going to have a series of acting. Blanche can never get confirmed. So he's going to be done in 210 days, which I think is almost up. Then they'll have to put another acting in. This is going to be acting. That guy will be there for 210 days while he's busy trying to use his social media to put Letitia James in jail for nothing. He's not going to get confirmed. Will Donald Trump be able to confirm anyone ever again in the United States Senate? I will go on record right now and say I don't think he will unless he quits appointing people that are extreme MAGA nuts with no experience.
Well, I'm not going to hold my breath on that one, Claire, because the president has been very clear about the kind of people he wants to put up, to Claire's point. And I think not only is this a signal that he's not going to have any more actings, I think that the president is being very, as he usually is, he is rabidly vocal about what it is he wants to do. And Bill Pulte is not only someone that trumped up charges on social media about Tish James, but also about Lisa Cook, also about Adam Schiff, also, this is now the person that he wants to put at the top of the apparatus that is our nation's secrets. In advance of a very consequential election where I believe the president is going to claim that there has been election interference by a foreign government. You know why? Because he's done it in every single other election he's been a part of. And so pay attention to Bill Pulte for sure. The other thing I think folks should pay attention to is a question Rosa DeLauro, Congresswoman, put on the table today to Todd Blanche. Take a listen.
You've taken one piece and you said, OK, we have had a ton of backlash on this on this $1.8 billion slush fund. However, so we'll not move on that. But as part of the settlement, which you've said, which is this immunity for the president and his family and his business, etc., that stands.
It's not immunity. Okay, so it's not immunity. What it says is like any time the IRS settles with an individual taxpayer or another company as part of the settlement, it's standard, it's typical to get rid of past ongoing audits.
Yeah, you should be laughing, Michael Steele. It's a bunch of words we can't say on national television because Rosa DeLauro, the Congresswoman, went on, Eugene, to read from the memo that Todd Blanche put out that spelled out immunity. So they're being very clear that, we're not going to continue to slush fund. But what about this situation about the taxes? What about that?
There's no settlement. I don't know what Todd Blanche is talking about. There's no legal person who doesn't work for the Trump administration that I've talked to, that our colleagues have talked to, that will say that there has been a settlement. And therefore, anything that you do around it, calling it a settlement, is not legally binding, according to legal experts. It has nothing to do with me. I'm not a lawyer. But at the end of the day, what they are going to continue to push and push and push. I'll never forget the day before Donald Trump was elected. I was talking to some folks who ended up working in his DOJ, and they said, we're going to push the bounds of everything. And I said, everything? And they said everything. They said the legal, the political, the policy, all of it. And they have done that over and over and over again. And when you look at what Todd Blanche is doing, he's continuing to, and this is even folks in the White House know this, he's continuing to audition to get the top job. And I think the senator is right. I've talked to a lot of senators about the folks that Donald Trump wants to put in these positions, and they have said, not getting my vote. He's not going to get Tom Tillis's vote, right? He's not going to get Bill Cassidy's vote.
He's not going to get Susan Collins'
vote, right? There are a lot of people in the Senate who he's not going to get their vote. And on anything else, there's like 30 senators who are always back there waiting quietly, to counter the president on some of these things.
Senator, I want to dive a little bit into what you put on the table, because I think you are spot on about how this plays out going forward. At this point, Trump has assessed the political landscape expertly. He knows now. He's like, okay, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to go ahead and find someone. Eugene, you got the job for 210 days. Claire, you'll get the job for the 210 days after that. So he's going to go down his little pipeline of people to get him through what he's got to get through. While the ballroom is being built, the arch is being built, the Kennedy Center name, I still don't know who's going to enforce the judge's ruling. Please tell me who, Senator, if you know. And he knows that. There's no one to make him take his name off the Kennedy Center. But the problem for Republicans is everything I just said. Everything I just said. You've got Punchbowl News noting how toxic this man, the current president of the United States, is to this GOP. Tried to tell y'all that a long time ago, but let me read anyway from Punchbowl. Trump and Hill Republicans are trapped in a dangerous paradox. Trump's political endorsement is worth more than ever in GOP primaries. Yet his legislative agenda and fixation on personal projects are growing more toxic heading into the fall campaign season. As more Republicans move past their primaries, they're suddenly finding it advantageous to oppose him. Really? Really? Oh, now it's advantageous to oppose him. But here's the truth of that. That is even a fiction in my view, Claire, because I don't know how far they really are prepared to oppose him. I think a lot of this is fronting for the cameras. I think a lot of this is kind of BS crazy, because I give you one Mitch McConnell who stood in the well of the United States Senate and lambasted what the president did on January 6th and then voted not to convict. So you help me understand. You worked with them. You helped me, and you still, they don't talk to me.
That is your fault, Claire. You tell us.
I mean, they don't talk to me anymore for obvious reasons, right? But, but the reality of it is what I just said.
Well, I think you're right on most of them. But we've got a handful. And keep in mind, for reconciliation, which is what they're trying to get done right now, they're trying to fund ICE and Border Patrol. That's what fell apart.
Right.
People said they wouldn't vote for that. They only have to have 4, okay? Only have to have 4.
Seemingly have the 4.
Susan Collins is in a situation where if she gets on board with anybody who's obviously not qualified or any,
she's dead in the water.
I mean, she's going to have to vote to do away with this slush fund business and letting presidents sue themselves and all that BS. Then you've got Tom Tillis. Okay. Now you have Cassidy and Cornyn. Not sure either one of them are feeling the warm and fuzzies, and they're not running for anything. You've got Dan Sullivan out in Alaska.
Right.
He's got an issue. You've got Tillis, who, you know, has shown that he's ready. I mean, he's ready to lead the charge. So that's more than 4.
Right.
So that means they can't, they have no hope of doing anything except something that Trump won't like with 60. And they have no hope of doing anything with reconciliation if the Democrats are successful in putting stuff in that bill that Trump can't take. Now, everybody here's a dirty little secret about reconciliation. I don't want to get in the weeds because it's technical. But the amendments that are voted on during reconciliation do not have the force of law. It's a show thing. It's called Votorama for a reason. They don't have the force of law. And what they
when
do
you say they don't have the force of law, for people listening, are you saying that those aren't real?
Yes, I'm saying they aren't real. I'm saying that they aren't real.
That's how our government functions, folks.
But typically the way they make sure that happens, they do a wraparound at the end, which basically takes out all the... Now, the question is, will they have the vote for the wraparound? And even if they don't, most of those amendments are show amendments. But the Republicans are in trouble now because what those amendments are used for, I know, because I had to vote on some that were very, very tough in my state. And they're used for political commercials.
That's what I was going to ask. Exactly. Okay.
They're designed to make 30-second ads. They're designed to make digital content that can, you know, be used to go viral and target people through various algorithms. So the Republicans are in a tough place politically right now, and I don't see they've got any way out at this point. I do think that the people that thought they were going to have a safe re-election, like in Ohio and Iowa, those Republican seats, I think they're in trouble.